Gopichana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopichana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parvajakacharya Astar Sata Sri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaur Premananda. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 22. We're going to go over texts 38 and 39. That brings us to the end of the chapter. Those verses don't have purports, so I'll read them myself and then we'll chant text 1 of chapter 23, Devahuti's Lamentation. So, text 38, I'll read. Ya Prishtu Muni Vipraha Dharman Dana Vedan Shaban Nrinam Varnashramanam Cha Sarva Bhuta Hita Sada. Translation. In reply to questions asked by certain sages, he, Swayambhuva Manu, out of compassion for all living entities, taught the diverse sacred duties of men in general and the different varnas and ashramas. Text 39. Etat adi rajasya manustraitam adbhutam varnitam varna antyasya varnitam varnaniyasya tadapatyodayam shrinu. Translation. I have spoken to you of the wonderful character of Swayambhuva Manu, the original king, whose reputation is worthy of description. Please hear as I speak of the flourishing of his daughter, Devahuti. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 22nd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. So chapter 23, text 1. Maitreya Uvacha Pitribhyam Prastite Sadvi Patim Ingita Kovida Nityam Paryacharat Pritya Bhavani Va Bhavam Prabhum Maitreya Uvacha Pitribhyam Prastite Sadvi Patim Ingita Kovida Nityam Paryacharat Pritya Bhavani Va Bhavam Prabhu Maitreya Uvacha Pitribhyam Prastite Sadvi Patim Ingita Kovida Nityam Paryacharat Pritya Bhavani Va Bhavam Prabhu Maitreya Uvacha Pitribhyam Prastite Sadvi Patim Ingita Kovida Nityam Paryacharat Pritya Bhavani Va Bhavam Prabhu Vacha Vaishnavis. Maitreya Vacha. Maitreya said, Pitribhyam, by the parents, Prastite, at the departure, Sadhvi, the chaste woman, Patim, her husband, Ingitako Vida, understanding the desires, Nityam, constantly, Paryacharat, she served, Pritya, with great love, Bhavani, the goddess Parvati, Iva, like, Bhavam, Lord Shiva, Prastite, Prabhu, her Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Maitreya continued, after the departure of her parents, the chaste woman, Devahuti, who could understand the desires of her husband, served him constantly with great love, as Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, serves her husband. Purport. The specific example of Bhavani is very significant. Bhavani means the wife of Bhava, or Lord Shiva. Bhavani, or Parvati, the daughter of the king of the Himalayas, selected Lord Shiva, who appears to be just like a beggar, as her husband. In spite of her being a princess, she undertook all kinds of tribulations to associate with Lord Shiva, who did not even have a house, but was sitting underneath the tree and sitting underneath the trees and passing his time in meditation. Although Bhavani was the daughter of a very great king, she used to serve Lord Shiva just like a poor woman. Similarly, Devahuti was the daughter of an emperor, Swayambhuva Manu, yet she preferred to accept Kardama Muni as her husband. She served him with great love and affection, and she knew how to please him. Therefore, she is designated here as Sadhvi, which means a chaste, faithful wife. Her rare example is the ideal of Vedic civilization. Every woman is expected to be as good and chaste as Devahuti or Bhavani. Today in Hindu society, unmarried girls are still taught to worship Lord Shiva with the idea that they may get husbands like him. Lord Shiva is the ideal husband, not in the sense of riches or sense gratification, but because he is the greatest of all devotees. Vaishnavanam yata Shambhu. Shambhu, or Lord Shiva, is the ideal Vaishnava. He constantly meditates upon Lord Ram and chants Hari. Some other devotees of Lord Ram here. Meditates upon Lord Ram and chants Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Shiva has a Vaishnava Sampradaya, which is called the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. Unmarried girls worship Lord Shiva so that they can expect a husband who is as good a Vaishnava as he. The girls are not taught to select a husband who is very rich or very opulent for material sense gratification. Rather, if a girl is fortunate enough to get a husband as good as Lord Shiva, in devotional service, then her life becomes perfect. The wife is dependent on the husband, and if the husband is a Vaishnava, then naturally she shares the devotional service of the husband because she renders him service. This reciprocation of service and love between husband and wife is the ideal of a householder's life. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. So Swayambhuva Manu is leaving the stage, and in this part of Srimad Bhagavatam we're going to be hearing about the glories of his daughter Devahuti, who became the wife of Kardama Muni and served him nicely, and the mother of Lord Kapila, an incarnation of Krishna. So the purport starts out with giving the example of the wife of Lord Shiva, Bhavani, or Parvati, the daughter of the king of the Himalayas. So there's a story behind that. It has to do with some misunderstanding between Daksha, the Prajapati, the generator of population, and Shiva. Once there was a big assembly of the demigods and sages that was being held, and Shiva was there, and the other demigods, Lord Brahma, he was also there. And Daksha arrived at this assembly, and all of the demigods and sages rose and offered their respects, greeting Daksha, but Shiva didn't. Shiva and Lord Brahma didn't. And Daksha was especially offended because he thought, well, Shiva is married to my daughter. His daughter was Sati, and she had chosen to marry Shiva against the wishes of her father, basically. He didn't think he was the best choice. But later, there was Daksha put on his own ceremony, and he his daughter Sati became upset with him because he was trying to lord it over Shiva because he thought Shiva is my son-in-law and the son-in-law should rise when the father-in-law enters an assembly, but he didn't do that. So Sati became a little upset with her father. She thought, okay, you think because Shiva is related to me because I'm your daughter, and he's got a relationship with me, therefore he's your son-in-law, and you can try to lord it over him. And she left her body. She burned it up in mystic fire and said, okay, now there's no more sati. He's got no relationship with you. You're not his father-in-law. So then after that, Lord Shiva went to the Himalayas and was meditating and performing tapasya. And the demigods, they were having, as usual, their battles with the asuras, or the demons. And they decided they needed, in order to achieve victory, they needed a son from Lord Shiva. But they were thinking, how are we going to get a son from Lord Shiva? He's meditating all by himself, performing tremendous austerities in the Himalayas. So they thought, we'll get the daughter of the king of the Himalayas to approach him. And she did. And it's kind of like the story of Haridas Thakur and the prostitutes and Maya personified, who came to tempt him. And Lord Shiva resisted this temptation. But they did become married, and although she was a princess, a daughter of a great king, she adapted to living with Lord Shiva, who basically would stay outdoors beneath trees, didn't have a house or a home, a big palace or anything like that. Sometimes he would be going into crematoriums, taking the ashes from there all over his body. But she was a chaste and faithful wife. And it's mentioned here, it's kind of, in a sense, puzzling. It says, Devahuti followed this example, and Srila Prabhupada says her rare example is the ideal of Vedic civilization. Although it's a rare example, it says every woman is expected to be as good and chaste as Devahuti or Bhavani. So it seems contradictory in a way that the example is very rare, yet every woman is supposed to follow it. Seems kind of challenging. But just in general, the opportunity to perform devotional service in the human form of life is very rare. It's very rare to attain the human form of body. There are 8,400,000 kinds of bodies. And the human form is the only one in which it's possible to understand our real identity, Jivara Swarupa Hare Krishnara Nityadas, where our real identity is not the material body, but the soul, which is the eternal servant of Krishna. And only by understanding that is it possible to get out of the cycle of birth and death. So, and even those who are trying, it's very difficult. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita explains that out of thousands of men, thousands of human beings, only one will succeed. You know, many thousands are trying for perfection and self-realization, but among those, only one or a few will succeed. So these ideals are there, both for men and women. There's so many examples of the lives of great sages and devotees of the Lord that are given as ideal examples for us to attempt to follow. And one thing it does is it engenders a sense of humility, which is necessary for devotional service. One is has false pride. It's not helpful for progress in devotional service. So these examples are there for us to aspire to. And Srila Prabhupada expected his disciples to do that. I was reading a question and answer session. You know, Srila Prabhupada was in conversation with someone who had come to a temple, and he was saying, you know, how are we supposed to live up to these ideals? And Prabhupada just said, you just do it. So if you don't do it, you're just being rebellious. And that's why you're here. So, I mean, the examples are there, what ideal husbands are like, what ideal wives are like, what ideal children are like. And it may seem difficult, but it's by Krishna's grace that only that one can achieve a position like that. So that's the importance of hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Chaitanya Charitamrita, because there we see examples of how devotees are meant to behave with each other and in relationship to Krishna and in relationship to society and in general. So Lord Shiva is in charge of the destruction of the universe. Lord Brahma is in charge of creation. Lord Vishnu is in charge of maintenance. So they're very powerful entities, but they're all heads of sampradayas also. So in addition to giving us our field of activities, this material universe that we're in addition to giving us our bodies, the vehicles that we operate in this material world, they also give the way to properly understand what our real home, what the real environment of the soul is, and give us direction how to achieve that most important goal of human life. So stop there. Does anyone have any thoughts about this question of ideal examples and living up to them? Yes?
Hare Krishna. In Prabhupada's purport, he says that every woman should pray for an ideal good husband like Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva is a wonderful devotee of Krishna. But if you look out in the world today, most women are not praying for that. They're praying for men to have lots of money and good wealth. So as devotees of Krishna, we should be, looking for, if we have a mate, we should be looking for somebody who's a devotee of Krishna. So it's important for us to do that. So most of the society is not doing that now when you read the purport like that.
Yes. Well, it also goes for the men, what they're looking for in a wife. Are they looking for a good devotee who's going to help them in their advancement in Krishna consciousness, or are they looking for someone that's going to gratify their senses in so many different ways? So it goes both ways. Like Kardama Muni prayed for a wife, I think of the good kind, that would be good for him spiritually. So that's also there. But in Chaitanya Leela, we see that the young girls of Navadvip, Mayapur, were worshiping Shiva to get a good husband, and little Lord Chaitanya, Vishwambar, he went and told them, give the offerings to me, because he thought, well, he's Supreme Personality of Godhead, the source of Shiva, everyone. So he was kind of joking with them, give me the offerings, make the offerings to me, or else I'll curse you, that you'll get a very old husband with many co-wives. And the gopis of Vrindavan, they would also do that worship of Shiva in order to get Krishna as their husband. So that's there, the example is given. And in modern society, like you're saying, there's tremendous propaganda to choose a mate based on riches and sense gratification. So that's the atmosphere in which we're living, and that's the pool of people that we're drawing members from. So these examples are being given, these ideal examples are being given in the Srimad Bhagavatam to give us another way of looking at things. So, those examples are there for our benefit. Anything else? Yes?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, thank you for the class. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I can't help but have to mention that I think it's very risky to compare Parvati Devi with a prostitute, and I don't think Shiva would like that very much. And if I misheard in some way, please forgive me, but I just wanted to point that out. That's I think.
What is it?
You were saying that when you're talking about you compared Parvati Devi to the prostitute who went to Haridas Thakur. I don't think it's befitting, and I don't think that Shiva would like that. And I just wanted to mention that because I feel like I heard something that I don't want to hear, and it's bothering me because I feel that falls in the category of criticizing someone who's so far beyond us mere mortals, and it's making me feel very uncomfortable. So I just wanted to mention that. Maybe I misunderstood, maybe I wasn't listening properly, but
well, my intention was to give examples of Dhira. That's what my intention was. But thank you for drawing my attention to it. I was kind of comparing Shiva to Haridas Thakur. That was my intention. But if inadvertently I offended Parvati, then like Chitraketu, I'll have to take whatever reaction is due. Yes?
You did say Maya Devi tested Haridas Thakur. Was she a prostitute? No. She was doing it to glorify Haridas Thakur. So Haridas Thakur was tested by Maya Devi herself. She's not a prostitute, but she was doing it for the glorification of Haridas Thakur. So similarly, Bhavani, she was approaching Lord Shiva on the request of the demigods to get somebody to fight against the demon. It's not that she was, had some ulterior motive. She was doing it on a request of higher authorities, and the result was ultimately they got Kartikeya.
Yeah.
So it's not on the platform of prostitution when Maya Devi approaches Haridas Thakur or Bhavani approaches Lord Shiva. It's just a different category of situation.
Okay. Satchidananda, and then
question, Prabhu. You were mentioning about the meeting of Daksha and Lord Shiva. When he came, Daksha and Lord Shiva didn't stand up, so Daksha took an offense. So my question will be in regards to, the chapter is describing about the ideal father who decides, chooses a proper husband for the daughter. So my question was, whose decision was at first place that Parvati will marry Lord Shiva, since the father himself, you say he was not in agreement. Apparently he was not in agreement that she would marry Lord Shiva.
When I was doing some reading to prepare for this class, I was reading something that Srila Prabhupada said, and he had made this point that the father, Daksha, didn't approve of Lord Shiva as the best possible husband for his daughter. And that was kind of, I hadn't recalled that from my recollection of other reading that I'd done previously. So I thought, since Srila Prabhupada said it, I would mention it in class today. But in order to really answer your question, which is who made the decision for Sati and to become the wife of Lord Shiva, I would have to do more research. I can't recall anything right now about that.
Thank you.
But there were occasions, just in general, where the daughter has some choice or can give some indication to the father who she prefers to be the husband. Like as in the case of Devahuti. Yes?
It's a little question, probably a comment also. For the question that Mataji had about the offense, could another way of looking at that is in the eyes of, you could say, the study or the realization of Mohini Murti, where Krishna took the form of a woman, very beautiful one, to literally get back the nectar of immortality, but she plays the role of also pacifying, in a way, her children by giving them, the demigods, the nectar of immortality, and in return, I don't want to say fully cheating the demons, but giving the demons some help in being able to receive her, maybe her touch or whatever it was that was going to give them that sense gratification that they were seeking. Would that be a better way of looking at Mother Parvati as opposed to that rank of a lowest rank of ranks?
Didn't know what the question was.
Comparing Parvati as Mohini Murti, since the scriptures say that she acted in the form of a prostitute, even though it's literally Krishna, and Krishna distracted Shiva from his meditation and had Shiva, who's also Lord of the demons, literally pursue after her in pure ignorance, to where he found out the truth that it was literally his own Lord playing a mind game on him.
I'm not understanding what. I'll talk to you after class. I think it's getting late. I'll talk to you later. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.